Hi, my name's Dee and welcome to Untitled Tarot and welcome to your full moon Halloween Gods at Play reading. Now, if there is a sign in the title below, then it's one of my standard format videos, but the actual reading itself will be taken from a live stream I am doing 6 PM GMT to celebrate Halloween and to celebrate the channel's first birthday. If you're seeing this beforehand, then it's going to have a general reading at the end. But as ever, I'm going to look into the full moon and have a discussion of what I see on the full moon. However, I can't do it as good as all the professional astrologers. So there is a link in the description down below for a Facebook page for this channel, where obviously I post these videos and where you'll find my live stream and what have you. When I finally do it, wish me luck. Mars and Mercury retrograde, so let's see if it works. But I also post all of the astrology forecast, weather report type videos that I'm learning from as well. And obviously it's right at the start of the month, or it's right at the start of next month. So there's a lot on there at the moment. I will recommend Ksenia Moore's full moon video, Wonder Girl Astrology's full moon video, and oh, there was a third one I wanted to point out as well. What was it? No, it's gone. I'll remember it at some point. But yes, I'm not going to be looking at the standard astrology because I don't know enough about it yet. I am still learning. I have the pleasure of learning from Rick Levine, who is great. So we'll see how it all goes. So, as I say, Facebook link down below. The good thing about that page as well, it has an inbox. So if you're wanting to contact me directly for a personal reading, then that's the way to do it. And as ever, as I say, if there is a sign in the title down below, there's also a timestamp in the description so that you can get past all of my waffle if you've seen it once already. And get straight to the reading, because really you should watch 3 of them. Watch your moon, obviously, it's a full moon reading. Watch your sun, because that's what we're all trained to do now, and that's the I am. But importantly, watch your rising sign. And if you don't know what your rising sign is, there is a link in the description down below where you can get yourself a free birth chart. There's no end of sites on the internet to get hold of that. And so what I'm going to do is I've put a lot of work into this video, so you're going to have to excuse the odd little bit of editing here and there, because there's a lot that I want to say and I want to make sure that I say it right. Now, as you're probably well aware, a full moon is sun opposition moon, and we have the moon at 8 degrees 38 minutes of Taurus, and therefore the sun at 8 degrees 38 minutes of Scorpio. Now, the moon is conjunct Uranus by a small distance of 3 minutes. You know, they are literally that far apart, their centres. So Taurus is a sign about stability. Uranus, not so much. Lightning, change, shock, transformation, great revelation. So we have the moon settling nicely into the stability of Taurus, with Uranus there trying to shake everything up. Now, that could be very interesting when we look at the time that we're in, especially if you are in America right now. So just because October is very nearly over, do not think that we will escape having some form of October surprise or another. Let's face it, pretty much every day of October has been an October surprise of some form or another. Now, the Scorpio-Taurus axis is one all about growth and change. Let me bring my notes up so that I know what I'm talking about. As the polarity, the Taurus mission is to root in and establish an earthly form, whereas Scorpio has that more transformative element to it. It has an urge to merge, to share resources, with the idea that the creative union will bear even more fruit. So if Taurus is about the shape of things, then Scorpio shifts that shape, and to do that uses its own resources and sometimes others too. Now, with Uranus in the mix there, the shape-shifting may end up being to an entirely new form, or something that initially might appear quite uncomfortable, because shock is exactly that, shock. It is never pleasant, even if it has a good result. You think if you open a door and there's someone that you haven't seen for years and years, and you're really pleased about seeing them, but you didn't expect anybody to be behind that door, you still have that moment of, oh, heck, there's somebody there, until it's like, oh, it's my old mate, and give them a big hug, or a socially distanced elbow bump, or what have you. But you've still had that moment of, so we're looking, really, I don't think we can make plans yet until after the effects of this new moon, or particularly the Moon-Uranus conjunction, has happened. Definitely, with this being the moon, this could be a sudden change in feelings. It could be a sudden change in the home. It could be a sudden change in the emotional environment. And it's Uranus. It could be a sudden change in anything. But it will be something that's fast, and it will cause a shift in whatever it is that you are trying to build. So let's just have a look at the symbols for 8 degrees Taurus, because every degree has its own symbols. We have the Chandra symbols, which I think is the same name for the inside degrees that you will hear astronomers talk about. Obviously, there's the Sabian symbols as well. Now, the Taurus, 8 degrees Taurus, the inside degree is a talkative woman with tape over her mouth. And what this describes is the creative force at odds with itself. What you would do, what you wouldn't do, facing the truth that everything personally generated fails to satisfy. Spirit is 8-4 in its absence. Something is missing. Massive pride comes screeching to a halt. It's a very high vibration, which again, if you think about Uranus, Uranus is the higher octave of Mercury, if I remember rightly. So communication that's coming in. And let's not forget that we've got Mercury retrograde and Mars retrograde all going on in this. And if I remember correctly, isn't Mercury retrograde in Scorpio? Let me just have a look at my full moon chart, which all of a sudden I seem to have misplaced. Why would it not be there? Of course not. Anyway, there we go. I found it. So let's have a look. No, it's regressed back into Libra by this point, but it's gone into Scorpio and then come back again. So there is a sort of an element of that transformation power going on. Now I've lost my symbols. Where have I put them? No, that's Scorpio. A very high vibration, inward places calling you, but the abyss features radical self-overcoming. And there is nothing to say, everything to do, with nobody left to do it, except the forgotten one inside who knows the way. Now that is beautiful, and it really calls into that idea of the shape-shifting that the Scorpio-Taurus axis brings in, because of that very phrase, their radical self-overcoming. So this is hopefully a wonderful opportunity for us to move past one of our own blocks or one of our own goalposts. Do not forget that this is the night, right around the world, this is the night where the veil between this world and the next is supposed to be the thinnest. It is also the Celtic New Year. So anything that we set into motion tonight is something that or, you know, under the light of the full moon, which is really a 3-day period, but you can consider the full moon energies to be lasting towards the new moon, where the new moon wipes the slate clean and we start again. But there is support to be had, there is doorways to peer through, there are doorways to look through, and there's information to be received. And again, Uranus, being the higher vibration of Mercury, indicates that element of transformative information. Now, talking about it being the Celtic new moon and any changes that we now could be lasting over for the upcoming year. Sorry, the Celtic New Year, not new moon. Celtic New Year. This degree is ruled over by a degree angel called Rahael. Now, the sun is ruled over. Is ruled by an angel called Sitael, which I will get to later. But what they promise is longevity. This is what the Rahael within 8 degrees Taurus and various other degrees scattered around the zodiac promises health and longevity. So something that we can put into practice now, or something that we can build on the basis of, oh my God, where did that come from, is something that is going to last quite some time. In fact, let me dive into Sitael, who is ruling the sun at 8 degrees Scorpio, and Sitael is ruling both the sun and Jupiter at 20 degrees Capricorn. Now, Jupiter is only just 20 degrees. It's 20 degrees 59 minutes. So one could argue that it's 21 degrees, but I have no doubt that angels work in order and therefore they're going to be a stickler for mathematics. So we are within that 20 degrees Capricorn range, which means that anything that we are bringing into being, gaining that longevity with Rahel, is something that is going to grow. And what Sitael brings is a way to overcome adversity. Let me just have a look at my notes about him. There's yes, he is a seraph invoked to overcome adversity, rules the nobility, and one of the 72 angels of the zodiac, one of the Shem Hamethrash. But with him, with his ability to overcome adversity, both being focused through the sun, the I am, and through Jupiter, the expansive planet, the planet that makes things bigger. Even if Jupiter is still in Capricorn, it's making things bigger according to the rules, but there is a wonderful spirit shining through that sun that I wouldn't be surprised, especially with Uranus in the mix, is, yeah, we will expand with what we are creating to overcome adversity within the rules. And we might make some of those rules up as we are going along. Now, the decans that these are in are also ruled by the goetic spirits. Now, let me move my pad out the way and you can see the cards. So, change camera. And we have, for the moon and for the 8 degrees Taurus, we have Epos for the daytime and Amy for the nighttime. For the sun, we have Gamagin and Raum, and let me just bring the cards for Rahel and Sitael in. So here we have Rahel representing love and submission, which is part of his astrological designations, but Sitael, the creation of all things, which I have to say is a very, very beautiful, beautiful image of what we can create. And we are in a time, especially in America, where creation is called for, where in America you have your vote. Use your vote. Definitely vote. People died so that you could use that vote. Whatever your political leanings are, voting is better than not voting. It means that you are actually exercising your say. And like any election, yeah, it probably is the lesser of two evils. I certainly think that there is a greater and a lesser evil, as I imagine anybody with any opinions about anything to do with American politics thinks one way or another. And a lot of elections, you have to hold your nose. But it's better than just leaving it up to everybody else, I think, is one way to look at it. But there is so much promise of change after we have whatever shock revelation that it is. Now, with the decans and the Goetic spirits, now the Goetia is the 78, 78, no, that's tarot card, 72 demons that Solomon summoned and bound to build his temple. They each controlled decans, and one controls a decan in the daytime and one controls the decan in the nighttime. So with the moon and Epos and the sun and Gamagin, or Samagina, as he is known. Now, this to me indicates a time of revelation. Strangely enough, revelation, especially concerning those who have passed on in sin, which is that Epos, or is that, yes, that's Gamagin or Samagina. He teaches the liberal sciences and delivers news about people who have died in sin. He can summon the souls of drowned men and those who are in purgatory. Whereas Epos imparts confidence, eloquence, presence, independence, inspiration, humour, grace and bravery. He can also cause destruction. He can reconcile friendships, reveal secrets. So again, we've got that image of revelation of some secrets, and influence decisions. And you can say that in a political campaigning period, there's a lot of people trying to influence decisions. He rules over self-development and divination. And what was it that Chandra symbol was saying with Taurus? That radical self-overcoming. So for the daytime energies, if the full moon's in the daytime, any form of transformation that you are embarking upon has that little bit of whammy, that little bit of extra support that you might not have accepted beforehand. Now let's have a look at what's going on at night time. Now this is Raum, and Raum with the sun, 8 degrees Scorpio, and Amy with 8 degrees Taurus. Now, Amy is a warrior. Raum steals and relocates treasures, often from kings. I'll leave that one there. Now, what I can draw from that sort of reaction, so this is where the full moon is happening at night time. It can be people fighting to keep or regain what they have, had, or more to the point, those that are in power losing resources while the general populace is empowered to fight and to stand up. And this standing up point is another part of this full moon, which I will explain, because I drew a chart for the end of the Mayan calendar for the point that the sun goes into 0 degrees Capricorn back in 2012. So that was the 21st of December. I think it was also one of the doomsdays, wasn't it? Oh my God, the Mayan calendar is coming to an end. That's it. The world's cancelled. Yeah. How do you think about that now? Now we know what a cancelled world looks like. Now, the sun in this full moon, 8 degrees Scorpio, is conjunct the Saturn out of that chart. Now, let me just find, because I've put some notes down here. Of course, I'm not finding it very... here we go. So, yes, it is conjunct to the Sun by 1 minute. 1 minute. I mean, they are practically on top of one another. Now, the when the Sun conjuncts Saturn, let's have a look what I've got written here. It's a time to stand up. It can be a time of great satisfaction with achievements, recognition and promotion, and it can also be the other side, a time of privation, insecurity and hardship. Now, I imagine there's going to be an element of either or going on. Again, if you look at the political scene, but it's not just all about America. This is this personal transformation energy is worldwide. And there are certainly a lot of political forces acting worldwide at this same time that will all benefit or be debilitated by this very transit. Now, if you think about what the end of the Mayan calendar was, the Mayan calendar, the Bactun, is a huge cycle, and astrology is all about cycles. And the fact that we are being called to remember through the I Am, through the Sun, to the chart of the end of the Mayan calendar, to the planet of time, of, yes, restrictions, but more to the point, lessons. I mean, one thing that you do have to remember is, okay, Kronos ate his children. Yeah, we know. But he also ruled over a golden age on the earth before those children all managed to escape, thanks to Zeus being hidden in a cave. So it is that ancient golden age. It is a promise of that golden age, which again, the end of the Mayan calendar did used to talk about. Now we're going to start elevating. So if you want to talk about all the here comes the age of Aquarius business, you can do. I'm still not entirely sold that we are anywhere near Aquarius, but if you think about it, that's not a change that's going to change like that. That's a change that's going to have the world change over the course of, at the very least, several decades, if not a few hundred years. But I think it is absolutely beautiful that this one full moon, on the night where the veil is thinnest, is calling us back to the energies of the great cycle of the Mayan calendar, with the message, it is time to stand up and be counted. Sun conjunct Saturn transit means you must stand up and be counted. Hard work, discipline and patience are needed to attend to your duties and obligations, and you may have to take on extra responsibility or act as a mentor and guide. Now, if we are here to change the planet, let's get on with it. There's your extra work and responsibility. If we are here to help other people realise their role in changing the planet, being that mentor and guide, get on with it. Also, be aware that this is an energy affecting everybody, so you may suddenly find the arrival or the influence of a mentor or guide is really appropriate for you right now. But as we hear so many times, and America has definitely heard this so many times over the past few weeks, we are at a precipice. We are at a precipice with the virus. We are at a precipice politically. There are war tensions across the planet. There are political unrest across the planet. And there are people trying to enforce lockdowns. Some for, well, Hopefully all of them for the good reason of trying to get rid of the virus. But lots of people are questioning that one way or another. So, you know, there's so many different ways that you can look at things. I personally think there is a killer virus on the loose. Let's minimize contact for the time being, because with a sky like this, there is plenty of work we can be getting on with, and there is plenty of personal transformation that we can be getting on with. Now, what is also interesting is that this 8 degrees Taurus, let me find my note here, is that of, no, it's the sun. So again, it's that time to stand up and be counted. Is Edgar Allan Poe's North Node. So if you want to think about someone who has, with the effect of their life, have done something with longevity that has stood the test of time. We all know Poe's stories to this day. We all know what Poe represents. There's a rather interesting point about how he was supposed to have died. Let me just bring those details up. Give me a second. No, that's not there. So basically, he had died of what looks like alcoholism, or at least, and he was a known drinker, but at least on the night where he was found, he was utterly, not sure what word I can use on YouTube and not get struck for it. So he was drunk. He was very, very drunk. But there's a really interesting one theory from 1872. I got this from Wikipedia. You know, I do all the best research. Suggests that cooping was the cause of Poe's death. Now, what this is a form of electoral fraud in which citizens were forced to vote for a particular candidate, sometimes leading to violence and even murder. So they would get somebody drunk and then take them from polling station to polling station to polling station, getting them to vote for the specific candidate of their choice. That's something I think that we need to watch out for, because remember, it is time to stand up and be counted. It is time to transform. It is time to overcome your own barriers and really, really transform. And I think that's everything that I want to talk about in this video about the full moon. I have another aspect of the full moon that I'm going to discuss in a separate video, because I'll give you a quick précis of it. I'm a comics geek. You can tell somewhat, can't you? So I very much see superheroes and the comic superheroes as a modern mythology. They are playing out those archetypal stories again and again and again. So as I started learning astrology, I was like, well, this is so heavily mythology based. Oh, I will have a look at various points in comics history. You know, I've drawn up charts for when certain characters are introduced to the public. So it's publication day, New York, 6 a.m. always, depending where the company is based, but pretty much New York, 6 a.m. Of the shipping day of that comic, and that is the birth of a character. I can discuss that another time. But I also have done charts for the publication just of certain comics. This full moon is conjunct the Mars of DC's 2005 crossover, Infinite Crisis. Now, if you follow comics, you know what I'm talking about. If you're interested on where I'm going to go with this, keep your eye out for my Infinite Crisis full moon video, which I'm going to film after this one. But in the meantime, back to the more serious stuff. Let me shuffle cards and start the general reading. Okay, Capricorn, and my apologies that this reading is late. You didn't get covered in the live stream on Saturday night due to technical issues, And of course, Sunday I was busy filming another project that the first one you may be interested in. Keep your eyes open for, if you are Capricorn rising, for my the Saga of Capricorn 2020 coming out hopefully tonight, and the first one that we'll be looking at is indeed Capricorn rising. So if you're Capricorn sun or moon, then whatever your rising sign is, you'll be getting one of those videos as well at some point soon. I think I'll be releasing one a day. But firstly then, back to this full moon. Now this reading could be covering 2 weeks until the new moon, could be covering 4 weeks until next full moon, or considering that the Halloween full moon was so important and the start of the Celtic New Year, then this could be a year's worth of reading. Now, do remember that these Gods at Play reading, by their very nature with the God cards, they are dramatic. You may want to scale the symbols down a little to see how they are emerging in your own life. But there is a really, really clear message coming out here, which I must admit, reading since the full moon has been easier than it was on the day of the full moon, which is a bit weird. It's normally the other way around for me, to be honest. But the cards are vibrant today. And interestingly, as one of the Archontic masks, we have Ra with power. He's made a lot of appearances here in this position. So this top row is the masks that the Archons wear, pretending to be the gods, but basically designed to keep us vibrating in fear and misery and just general meh. Whereas this bottom row is the actual gods trying to lift us up, trying to consciously reconnect us with the divine. So those Archontic masks that are arrayed against you, we have Ra with power, Mnemosyne with inspiration, Isis with protection, Typhus with fear, and Hel with concealment. That's the Norse goddess Hel, famous from the recent Thor movie. On your side, working with you, giving you energies, we have Prometheus with altruism, Heracles with strength, Sekhmet with reduction. Now she's another one. She has been appearing in this same position, and you've seen my shuffle video. I've shuffled the cards, but she keeps appearing in this position. I've done 3 readings today, 4 readings today, 3, and she's been here every single time, and I have shuffled the cards. We have Creusa with secrets and Ran with abuse. And I'm going to read that one out, partly because I'm not as familiar with the symbolism of Ran, but partly because it adds flavour to the story that I'm seeing here. Now, in another sign, I was hearing about a call to action, and that call to action, delivered with Ra, was based on illusions and untruths, whereas here it seems to be based on, oh yeah, and self-esteem issues it was based on. But here it seems to be based on a temptation to impose one's will or an agenda, to try and make things as they were. This is an agenda that is inspired, because Mnemosyne here representing inspiration, but she's the goddess of memory. Is she one of the muses or the graces? Or is she a titan? I think she's a titan. And as that being the goddess of memory, is that almost that sense of we need to recapture what has gone because it will protect what we have, because there's a call to protect what you have because of some great fear. But this is all based on some form of secret with hell and concealment. The goddess Hell basically used to steal everything of anybody who dies, and then because they're all dead, nobody can say anything, and she's got this huge chamber with everybody's stuff in it. At least that's the symbolism of this card. Facing all of that. Now, if you think about Prometheus, Prometheus was cunning, but Prometheus also set himself against a power he knew he could not defeat. You do not go against the king of the gods expecting to win. You can go against the king of the gods and expecting to achieve what you are wanting to achieve, but you will get punished for it. And he was. He was chained to the top of a mountaintop and had an eagle peck away at his internal organs every day, and the organs would grow back every night for the whole thing to happen all over again the next day, which sounds horrible. But Prometheus loved mankind, hence this aspect of altruism. So it's almost like there's some form of agenda. Let's have a look. Where, right, there is some fear that, now how do I, there is some fear that is causing everybody to act in a protective manner because they believe being protective will create some fertility. But this, it's almost like with the Chariot on Mnemosyne, this urge to recreate something and to protect what is takes on a life of its own, but it is based on, or the clarion call behind it is based on something that is not true or hidden. It's more like there's I mean, my own personal feelings about Brexit is, and I'm going to use this as an example of what I'm saying. There is validity to the argument that a lot of people were using. I don't entirely agree that the argument itself is correct, as in facts and how the world works. But when people are saying, we want to take back our power, we want to be the ones in charge, there's nothing wrong with that point of view, apart from we were pretty much in charge of our own destiny anyway. That's where it's untrue. But that seeking for, I want self-determination, that's true. That's a good argument, which was championed partly by William Rees-Mogg, who stood to make millions if we get a no-deal Brexit, and we're heading to a no-deal Brexit. That, to me, is, does he believe what he's saying, or is he saying what he's saying because he stands to make millions out of it? Or has he arranged his finances because he believes in what he's saying and believes that this goal will be accomplished, and therefore has manoeuvred his finances so he can make millions from it? It's two things here. It's chicken and egg. What comes first? The secret or the result of the campaign that was based on? If his beliefs came first, fine, fair enough. If he's, I can make money here, comes first, then, no, you've done the country a hell of a lot of damage. But that's my own opinion. But that is the symbol that I am seeing here, that there is secrets that are behind this fear that's driving you to protect something. But that urge to protect something, that urge of creating your exerting your own power to protect something, is bringing you into conflict with others. Without a shadow of a doubt, it is bringing you into conflict with others. And it's almost like it takes this whole drive, campaign, course of action, takes a life of its own. if you set your foot down that path. Now on this bottom path, we have, we're starting with Prometheus, where you're going, no, hang on a minute, what is the good of all here? This thing that we're scared of, do we actually need to be scared of it, for example? But this thing about secrets, we have here with Creusa. Creusa is someone who had a child before she, tell me if I'm getting the myth wrong, but if I remember correctly, she had a child to somebody, and because she was out of wedlock, or the husband died, or something happened, she not got rid of the child, she farmed the child out. It might have just been a basket in the bulrushes type jobby, but she farmed the child out and then got married to somebody, and weirdly they ended up, I think, adopting this child back. She didn't know it was her son. Her son didn't know she was his mother. They ended up coming to blows because they thought they were politically opposed because they weren't of the same bloodline when they were, and it was all a traditional Greek tragedy. So the Creator card is saying reveal the secrets. So if you have a part in keeping something quiet, Prometheus here is calling you to stand up, speak out, do something about it, because we are, the Prometheus card is clarified by the Judgment card. It is a time for transformation for you. It is a time to speak out. It's a time to put things right. You've got to be strategic with it, but Sekhmet, in every reading that she says here, is giving somebody the power to keep things simple and go after the simple targets. And this, again, is clarified by the Justice card. Again, I'm sure it was the Justice card that clarified her in one of the other readings. So, whereas somebody else was encountering quite possibly the same situation, I would say you risk being part of this situation, being part of the campaign, mainly because of this. You are having the ability to reveal the secrets. Here's the world card here. This transformation, that a little bit of altruism is, this stand up and be counted, is speaking about. You have the world supporting you here in the dissolution or the revelation of these secrets. And then we have the Ran card. Where have I put the book? Now I'm going to read this one straight out, because I think that whatever secrets that you may have knowledge of that you need to speak out about is very much featured in this Ran card. So, because it's really cheerful. This is a Dark Goddess Oracle, by the way. They're great cards. You know what you are doing is wrong. Nice simple start. Yet still you persist. Cutting words, sneering glances, ensnaring those who need you within your net of abuse. That's right, abuse. It sounds harsh, but when you take advantage of others, be it for money, affection, time, or the limelight, you are abusing the situation or relationship, however subtle your ways. Time to stop. You have so many more adhering qualities about you that using the cheap trick of hitting others where it hurts is quite honestly beneath you. Ran draws near to remind you that you have so much more to offer. Here's where it gets nicer. You have so much more to offer others than a sharp tongue or a clenched fist. You have the most compassionate heart. Don't let it harden. Guide, advise, and relate to others with kindness, and you too will benefit greatly. And that's what I see. You too will benefit greatly. This is clarified by the Ten of Cups here. So this, if there is some form of secret or some form of revelation where you have the power to go, hang on a minute, everyone, look what's happening behind the curtain here. where you may well have been profiting by what was happening behind that curtain, but you have the strength and the strategy to reveal this, but you need to keep it simple. Otherwise, you get caught up in all these secrets and you end up in a conflict that you don't want to be in. Anyway, where were we? Ran knows only too well what it is to be feared, looked upon with dread, only good for dealing with those already past. Remember, you are here for the living. Now, that is really quite beautiful, especially, and the reason I've taken this, well, that I've been given the messages this way, is we also have Rochelle from the Oracle of Heaven and Hell, one of the Shem HaMephorash, and astrologically she represents, or he represents, restitution, setting things right. So we have Sekhmet keeping it simple. We have you going through a transformation by doing what's for the good of all. With a little bit of strategy, you have the strength to do it. By keeping it simple, you are setting things right. Justice card. In the act of revealing secrets, then the world will be supporting you, and you will have a large audience as well. But by withdrawing, by revealing these secrets and withdrawing from the utilization of these secrets, you are opening your big heart up to the world, and you will be repaid for it and will be happy for it. So that is really, really nice. And also, that's you told, Capricorn, isn't it? Now, bear in mind, this could be on a large stage or on a small stage. It could be something that passes within half an hour in the office or on the factory floor, or it could be something that dominates the entirety of your year. Only you can answer that, because it's going to be different for everybody. But yeah, stand up and be counted. Speaking of which, do not forget, this evening I will be releasing the Capricorn Saga of 2020, or the Saga of Capricorn 2020, or something like that, for Capricorn rising, because that's all in the first house, and that's all very much looking at identity issues, who you are into the world, and you have been going through, you know, I've got a funny feeling that part of this is not going to be news to you. It may be something that you've already stepped into, looking at the astrology of what's going on. For this is for Capricorn rising people. I imagine Sun and Moon will have some element of that going on, but that'll be up tonight. So if this means anything to you already, then please do comment down below as far as you are able. And I will see you next on the monthlies. Cheers. Oh yeah, and like, share and subscribe if you would, please. Cheers.